1970, the start of the second decade of Houston Oilers football. The first 10 years had seen triumph and success as the Oilers won 4 division titles and 2 AFL championships. The Houston Oilers were the class of the AFL in its formative years, and the team again made the playoffs in 1969, the league's last season. 1970 was to complete their return to the top. But instead, injuries made 1970 a year of development. Development for young players who will be better for the experience they got this season. 1970 was a time for determination, a time of learning, and a time to grow.
In Pittsburgh's brand new Three Rivers Stadium, the Steelers' preseason miracle man Terry Bradshaw, number 12, suddenly became just another rookie quarterback. The poise and precision of a brilliant preseason was shattered by a persistent Houston defense. Linebacker Ron Pritchard, number 58, intercepted one of Bradshaw's passes, and the Oilers' offense turned it into a touchdown. Later in the game, Houston's relentless rush forced Bradshaw out of the end zone for a safety. Without Bradshaw's passing game, the Steeler attack stumbled ineffectively throughout most of the game. On the other hand, Houston's offense, directed by 10-year veteran Charlie Johnson at quarterback and powered by number 32, Hoyle Granger, ran through the Steeler defense for consistent gains. Woody Campbell, number 35, shared the ball-carrying chores with Granger, giving the Oilers a double-barrel ground attack that the Steelers could not contain. With Pittsburgh's defenses massed against the run, Johnson passed to Jerry Levias for the game's first score. In the second period, Mike Richardson, number 24, picked up where Granger and Campbell left off. Houston's running game was moving so well that even tiny Jerry Levias, number 23, got a chance to carry the ball and stole through the Steelers for a 17-yard gain. Levias racked up Houston's second touchdown when he grabbed a quick pass from Johnson. Late in the final period, Terry Hanratty did what Terry Bradshaw could not and passed to rookie Ron Shanklin for a touchdown. It was the only score the Steelers could manage as Houston won 19-7.
The Oilers opened the season against the Pittsburgh Steelers. In his first regular season action, Terry Bradshaw found the Oiler defense an ungracious welcoming party. The defense subjected Terry to the ultimate insult, trapping him for a safety. Young number 12 retired to the sidelines to watch an older and wiser number 12, Charlie Johnson, in his 10th NFL season. Johnson directed an Oiler offense built of power and polish. Hoyle Granger and Woody Campbell pillaged Steeler estate. Johnson tossed 2 touchdown strikes to Jerry Levias. It was an impressive beginning, a powerful start for a team with championship design.
The Oilers finally got themselves together, and behind the receiving and running of tight end Alvin Reed, number 89, they seemed determined not to become the victims of an upset. When number 32, running back Hoyle Granger, took over the chores, he finally managed to crash in for a touchdown. But it wasn't enough, as the Miami Dolphins served notice that when they put it all together, they're going to be tough.
The Oilers came home for Game 2 to meet the Miami Dolphins and another young number 12, Bob Greasy. But this time, the young number 12 outgunned the older one, and the Oilers lost.
In Cincinnati, another veteran passer, Charlie Johnson, prepared to lead his team against the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals and Oilers spent most of the first half getting acquainted as defense dominated, with both teams hitting often and hard. The only touchdown threat was set up by the Oiler defense, as Sam Weiss's pass was intercepted by number 52, Garland Boyette, who rumbled to the 4-yard line. But the Bengal defense got into the interception act on the very next play, as number 66, Bill Berge, took down a rebound in the end zone. The second half was to be a reversal of the first, as both teams opened up on offense. Virgil Carter combined with All-Pro tight end Bob Trumpy, who beat safety Ken Houston for the game's first touchdown. With the Bengals on the move again, a Johnny Peacock interception of a Carter pass turned the momentum around. Then Johnson teamed with Jerry Levias for 22 yards to start the Oilers pumping. And number 35, Woody Campbell, got the touchdown several plays later. But with Cincinnati leading by 3 points, Johnson called upon his 10 years experience, and with less than 4 minutes left in the game, came up with a 28-yard touchdown pass to tight end Alvin Reed, as he led the Oilers to a come-from-behind 20-13 win.
Paul Brown's Cincinnati Bengals were the unfortunate victims when Houston let out the frustrations of the Miami loss. For most of the game, the defense bent the Bengal out of shape. But Virgil Carter finally struck oil, teaming with Bob Trumpy. Cincinnati's score woke up the dormant Oiler offense, and there was no stopping Woody Campbell, who tied the game at 10. With the Oilers on the move again, Bill Berge stole a Johnson pass to set up a field goal. With 7 minutes to play, the Oilers trailed 13-10. In his 10 years, Johnson has been behind before, and he knew what had to be done. He moved the Oilers 80 yards, 77 on his passes, and showed bingo backers how a veteran saves a game in the dying moments. The Oilers were 2-1, and both wins had been punctuated by a rip-snorting defense.
In Houston's Astrodome, a new rival made its first appearance. Though still led by unreliable number 19, the Colts can no longer steamroll through their schedule. For the past year, the Colts have been testing new talent, like number 40, Jack Maitland, a rookie from Williams College. Maitland and former Pittsburgh receiver Roy Jefferson, number 87, gave the Colts an early 2-touchdown lead over the Oilers. Houston quarterback Charlie Johnson brought the Oilers back with short passes to number 89, tight end Alvin Reed. In the third quarter, Roy Hopkins' short touchdown burst brought the Oilers to within 3 points. In the fourth quarter, former Dallas and Cleveland quarterback Jerry Rome, number 17, flipped a pass to number 24 Mike Richardson, which set up the go-ahead points for the Oilers. But in the end, it was old reliable John Unitas who drove the Colts 80 yards and hit 5 consecutive passes, including the game winner to Roy Jefferson with only 46 seconds left. For the third time in 4 games, John Unitas had pulled a doubtful decision into the win column for the Colts, and each time a receiver named Roy Jefferson had played the key role.
In the thick of their division race, the Oilers faced eventual Super Bowl champion Baltimore. The offense watched as a not-so-young quarterback named Johnny Unitas ran the Colts to a 14-0 lead. But then the Oilers started pumping. Johnson passed for 1 touchdown, and a pop to Alvin Reed set up another. Later in the game, Johnson was injured, and it was up to Jerry Rome to complete the comeback. With 3 minutes to play, Roy Girella booted the Oilers to a 20-17 lead. Johnny Unitas has been behind before, too, and he began to move the Colts. With only 46 seconds left, he miracled the Oilers. The 24-20 loss was disheartening for Charlie Johnson. Against the Steelers, Johnson suffered a broken collarbone that threatened to end his season. Without him, the Oilers lost. Johnson's was the first in a series of crippling injuries that saw the Oilers lose 6 starters and 3/4 of their offensive backfield.
In San Diego, there's a new set of mini-backs. Dickie Post has returned, and there's a new addition. None other than the original Kansas City Chief mini-back, number 25, Mike Garrett. Well, last Sunday, the mini-backs and the rest of the Charger running attack were stifled by a fired-up Houston Oilers defense. The Chargers' longest run from scrimmage was 14 yards by Mike Garrett. The Oilers were being counted out after Charlie Johnson's injury, but number 17, Jerry Rome, ignited the Oiler attack. Number 23, Jerry Levias, gave the Chargers fits with his unique style of pass receiving and punt returning. Jerry Rome turned fourth down into first down by running with the football. Rome accounted for one touchdown himself by faking into the line and running with the football again. Rome's passing accounted for 266 yards and 2 more touchdowns, one to 89 Alvin Reed, the other to Charlie Joyner, number 18, as the Oilers built up a 31-14 lead in the third quarter. The Charger attack, dormant most of the afternoon, got one touchdown from a John Hadel pass to tight end Willie Frazier, number 83. But the man who put the Lightning back in the Lightning Brigade was a wide receiver who's not caught many passes this season, a young fellow named Lance Allworth, number 19. Just the threat of an Allworth bomb was enough to set up one San Diego touchdown. The game's biggest play came late in the fourth quarter. It was a Marty Domrey's bomb, which was underthrown to Lance Allworth. "80 yards later, Lance Allworth scored the touchdown, which tied the Oilers 31-31, on a day when both Houston and San Diego proved they had the weapons to cause anyone trouble the rest of the year.
During Johnson's absence, Jerry Rome picked up valuable game experience. In his first start against San Diego, Jerry made an impressive debut. He passed for over 260 yards. He ran for 30 more. He scored one touchdown himself and passed for 2 scores in the 31-31 tie. Rome had gotten all-important game experience that will help in the future. But against the Chargers, the Oilers lost Woody Campbell. He joined Johnson and Hoyle Granger, who had been lost earlier in the season.
In the Astrodome, the Houston Oilers, with nothing to lose, entertained the San Francisco 49ers with everything to win. And for a while, it appeared that Houston could be a spoiler. Leroy Mitchell interrupted this Brody to Ken Willard aerial effort, and shortly thereafter, Roy Hopkins plugged it in for 6. Houston safety Ken Houston brought down the high and mighty once again with this interception. With a little razzle-your-dazzle help from his friends and a little help from the 49ers, Charlie Johnson brought the Oilers close. And Roy Hopkins wheeled in for 6 more points. The game was safely salted away. San Francisco, leaders in the NFC West, 30. Houston. In Cleveland, the Browns were determined to break a 3-game losing streak, their longest ever. To do it, they would have to defeat a team they had never played before, the Houston Oilers, led by a quarterback they had played many times but never beaten, number 12, Charlie Johnson. Last week's Johnson's key to victory was number 34, an unpublicized rookie running back from Wisconsin named Joe Dawkins. Dawkins carried 22 times for a surprising 143 yards and 2 touchdowns. But Cleveland's newest nemesis proved only human after all, and it cost the Oilers another touchdown. Jim Houston's recovery temporarily saved the Browns. At times, it seemed the Oilers were trying too hard for an upset. Alvin Reed, number 89, proved that it's not always a good idea to try too hard for that 1 extra yard. Medical marvel Charlie Johnson again proved that it's possible to play pro football with a broken collarbone, clamped in a steel vise. But for the first time in 8 years, Johnson could not beat his old cousins, the Browns.
Against Denver in the 11th week of the season, the offense put everything together. Given time to mature, young players had developed. Charlie Johnson was at the helm of a terrifying offense. The offensive line had knitted into a smooth working unit. The young runners scorched the AstroTurf and scored. Johnson had returned from his injury in spectacular fashion, and the talented receiving corps caught everything he threw. Johnson passed for 3 touchdowns, and the offense amassed 332 yards. It was the kind of performance that can become a habit when these young players are joined by returning regulars. Against the Broncos, the Oilers built a 31-0 lead and coasted to a victory. Charlie Johnson had met the challenge of injury. Next season, he faces another test when 2 highly rated college quarterbacks take a shot at his job.
Against the Denver Broncos, the Houston Oilers were willing to try anything to break their 7-game victory drought. They even tried not using a quarterback, which fooled just about everybody at the Astrodome, including center Bobby Maples, number 50. With over 100 yards in penalties and some hard-hitting defensive play by Denver, it looked like Houston was in for another long afternoon. But Denver's offensive errors forced the defense to spend an unusual amount of time on the field, and Houston ran all over them. Jerry Levias, number 23, scored 2 touchdowns in the first quarter. This pass from Charlie Johnson covered 63 yards. The Oilers, who have been seriously injured at running back this year, got another good performance from Mike Richardson, number 24, and he scored 2 touchdowns. By the time the Broncos could get organized, they were behind 31-0. Of course, Denver was not running the most orthodox offense either. But it wasn't until the fourth quarter that they could generate any points. On their most dramatic play, Billy Van Heusen, number 42, scored on a 58-yard pass from quarterback Alan Pastrana. And the young quarterback scored himself on a 10-yard run. But both scores came with less than 2 minutes left as Houston upset the erratic Broncos 31-21. The Bengals traveled to the Astrodome knowing that, coupled with Cleveland's loss to Dallas the day before, wins in their last two games would give the AFC Central crown to Cincinnati. Zeke Moore caught the Bengals possibly thinking ahead to next week when he returned the opening kickoff 45 yards. Two field goals in the first half. And Moore provided a touchdown when he raced 90 yards down the sideline with a Virgil Carter pass. Unfortunately for Moore and the Oilers, a roughing the passer penalty nullified the play. Passes from Jerry Rome to Charlie Joyner. But the two scores were off. The score was provided by the Bengal defense. Hike fumbled again, and number 58, Al Beauchamp, raced 25 yards with the bobble. The touchdown helped wrap up Cincinnati's sixth straight win and gave the Bengals a chance to clinch their first division title with a win over Boston this week.
Johnson's was the unkindest cut of all, for it cost the Oilers one of the best quarterbacks in the game. Johnson's ability to deliver the ball on target is without question. But he possesses another quality that enhances his value. He is cool under fire and can turn potential losses into gains. Incredibly, Johnson returned to action after only 4 weeks, and although forced to throw from shotgun formation to protect the injury, the medical marvel picked up where he left off. In Granger's and Campbell's absence, 3 men picked up valuable game time. Roy Hopkins, number 36, has been a starter on occasion, but this year he was more valuable than ever. But when he too was injured, the Oilers were down to 2 healthy running backs. Joe Dawkins, number 34, was one, and when he got his chance, he made the most of it. The rookie runner from Wisconsin was the team's leading rusher, using both finesse and raw power. Dawkins saved his best game for the Cleveland Browns when he rushed for over 130 yards and 2 touchdowns. Second-year man Mike Richardson, number 24, was the other man who got more playing time, and he proved especially versatile. Richardson caught 34 passes in 1970 and can turn a short one into a big gainer. Using desire more than natural ability, Mike has become an all-purpose back. Richardson, Dawkins, and Hopkins. 3 youngsters who are veterans because of the experience they got this year. Against pro defenses, no offense gets very far without someone doing the dirty work. Someone to part the Red Seas of the defense. Someone to put a guard-all shield around the quarterback. Someone like Ken Gray, number 62, or Bobby Maples, number 50, who led the wide plays. Maples is one of the best centers in football, and Gray came out of retirement when guard Tom Regner was injured. The other guard, Albert Drungo, made the switch from tackle when Sonny Bishop retired, and he was a battler all year. Walt Suggs, number 76, senior member of the Oilers, plays one steady tackle position, and Glenn Ray Hines the other. Maples, Gray, Drungo, Suggs, and Hines, the firm that gave Charlie Johnson the time he needed to get the ball to his talented receivers. Receivers like number 18, Charlie Joyner, who caught 28 passes despite playing in only 9 games. Receivers like Alvin Reed, number 89, one of the best tight ends in pro football. At 6'5" and 225 pounds, he is the ideal size for a tight end. Reed's good hands earned him second place in the AFC reception department with 47 catches. And try and catch him when he's latched onto one. Reed is a powerful blocker and runner, but he's also fast enough to get deep. And then there's number 23, Jerry Levias, the Oilers' Houdini. At 5 feet 10 inches, 175 pounds, he's small in stature, but big in heart. There's no more exciting moment than seeing Jerry engulfed by a mass of tacklers, only to emerge unscathed and on his way with a punt. But he's more than a specialist. He's a one-man aerial act catching passes with 41 grabs for 529 excitement-filled yards. Oh, and there's one more thing. Jerry's a part-time running back, too. With Levias, Reed, and Joyner, the Oilers are well stocked with receivers, but there's more. Trades brought Ken Burrow from the Saints and Willie Frazier from the Chargers. Each was a game breaker for their former team. The Oiler defense plotted their missions of mayhem and then carried them out. The tackles are number 71, Tom Domris, and number 74, Willie Parker. For a 275-pounder, Parker is amazingly quick and strong enough to one-hand a runner. Domris, in only his third season, has developed into a man-handling crusher, especially strong against the run. At one defensive end is 7-year veteran Pat Holmes, number 79. At the other is Elvin Bethea, number 65, a one-man demolition derby. Elvin is only in his third year, but he is already considered one of pro football's finest defensive ends. A trade with the Saints that brought Dave Rowe, number 76, further strengthens the defensive line. Behind the line are three outstanding linebackers. Garland Boyette, number 52, is usually in the right place at the right time. George Webster, number 90, was named to the all-time AFL team, although only in his fourth season. Here's why. Webster makes tackles at the line. Webster nails quarterbacks behind the line. Webster makes tackles in the secondary. Webster intercepts passes. Webster's season was cut short by a knee injury, but for the most part, it was Webster. Webster everywhere, and not a place to hide. Third member of the trio is number 58, Ron Pritchard. He's already an outstanding linebacker despite being in only his second season. At times, it seems Ron lines up in the opposing team's backfield. The Oilers' secondary is made up of four helmet crackers. Johnny Peacock, number 44. Leroy Mitchell, number 41. Number 29, Ken Houston. And Mr. Pinwheel, Zeke Moore, number 22. Moore is cobra quick against the run, and Houston is a quick striking rattler. In 1970, they combined for 9 interceptions. Houston snitched 3, and Moore turned the remaining 6 into joyrides. In 1970, both Moore and Houston went to the Pro Bowl. But for them and the rest of the Oiler defense, the toughest test was yet to come. Another factor is new head coach Ed Hughes. A pro coach for 11 years, it was Hughes who built the powerful 49er offense that carried them to the NFC Championship game. Ed Hughes knows what it takes to build a winner. It takes blocking and tackling. It takes passing and catching. It takes running, and it takes desire. The Oilers have shown that they can do it in the past. It remains for them to do it in the future after 1970's year of development. If lessons were learned, then the season was of value, and the future holds a time to reap after a 1970 season that was a time to grow.